Hey guys, I just wanted to run you through the type of properties that I'm currently looking at for investment properties. Now, I like to buy properties at the lowest price point possible because, in my eyes, the more affordable the property is in terms of the income of the general population, the more potential the property has to go up. Okay, so let us look. So I've come to the conclusion over doing some extensive research that probably the best area to invest in for long-term fundamentals, long-term growth fundamentals is Victoria. And when I say Victoria, I mean from basically anywhere in Melbourne to Geelong, which is regional, to Ballarat, even up to Bendigo, and then out to the eastern suburbs of Melbourne as well. I would say as far as Dandenong, and then up as far as Craigieburn. Let's just see where Craigieburn is. Craigieburn is up here. Even Mickleham probably has some potential, and then Melton as well. A lot of people are talking about Melton recently, but actually, you know what? Bacchus Marsh is a good one as well. Just anywhere in Victoria, anywhere in Melbourne at the moment has strong fundamentals for long-term capital growth. Why? Because Melbourne, Victoria, is the second largest capital city, and actually, I think it's taken over Sydney now. It's the largest capital city in Australia. It has, this doesn't matter, but it has a huge amount of immigration coming into Melbourne at the moment. And the property prices in Victoria, in Melbourne, are just way too low. Like they're so low, it doesn't make any sense. And how do I come up with that? How can I say they're so low it doesn't make any sense? What am I comparing it to? Well, the only real thing to compare it to is the other capital cities. And the capital city, which is the one that is most like is most like Melbourne in terms of size, like economical size, and how much income they produce and how much revenue it generates and all that sort of stuff, is Sydney. Now, if you were to look at the same properties that we're going to look at here in Sydney, I'll tell you, those things will be worth double the price, okay? So let's take this suburb this area that I've been looking at a lot recently is St Kilda, right? St Kilda is, I would say it is, in terms of demograph, or actually St Kilda, more South Yarra, but I would say South Yarra in terms of demograph, the people, the culture, everything like that, is similar to Sydney. Similar to Potts Point in Sydney. And let's click on this one. This is a property that I've been keeping an eye on, and I'm just waiting to negotiate on it. I haven't really done much. I've just inquired about it, but I haven't started negotiating on it yet because it's just come on the market and they don't even have the contract. So if I was to go and start making offers on this property, there is nothing that would bind the there's nothing that would bind the actual the vendor, the person selling the property, to my offer. I want to, unless there's a contract, I need a contract to offer on in writing so that I can bind my offer. I don't want to do a verbal offer in a hot market, or do a verbal offer on a property that is fresh to market, and potentially there is going to be a lot more interest on it, and then have build competition against myself on the property. Like if I offer and my offer is not secured in writing, which it cannot be with this property because there's no contract, then the agent is just gonna, next time he does an open home, or anyone inquires about this property, he's gonna say, hey, look, if you're interested in this property, put an offer forward. If you're interested in this property, there's already been an offer submitted. And that would be me. I would be the person that has the offer submitted, but I would not have anything in writing. So those people would be like, shit, okay, cool, let's offer higher. And then I'm fucked. So this is the property. It's very small, but yes, comparing it to a property in Sydney, this thing is going for $500,000 in Sydney. But here, it's under $300,000, okay? So the rent on this thing is about $450,000 to $500,000. So depending on what interest rate you get, it is positively cash flowing. So I like to invest it in properties that are first positive cash flowing, because that is, if you get a property that is positive cash flowing, there's, you know, there's no outside, you have 100% control of what's going on with the numbers in the property. If you're buying for cash flow and the property is negatively geared, you're just effectively hoping and praying that at some point the property is going to become positively geared. But look, this property has strong fundamentals for growth. So not only is it going to grow a lot in the short term, you're going to get a good cash on cash return in that growth, but it is also positively geared, right? And people think you have to go buy a negatively geared property to get good capital growth. Let me tell you, the last 9 properties we've bought are all positively geared, and the ones that we bought over 2 years ago, we started buying 3.5 years ago to 2 years ago. So we were buying in a 1.5 year window. The ones that we bought 3.5 years ago have more than doubled. The first one I bought in 2021, it was $180,000, and now it's $450,000. One of the ones we bought recently, the most recent one in that period, we bought it for $160,000. That property is now worth $350,000 in 2 years. So, positive cash flow, huge capital growth, okay? If you buy a property and it increases by 100% to 200% in a space of 3.5 years, that is better than buying a blue chip asset, okay? Because it's about how much cash you get on your money, all right? That's what investing is. It's you're thinking through an investment lens. A cash on cash return is what you should be looking at. Long-term growth fundamentals, cash flow, these are the principles that will take you from a mum and dad investor to a high-level professional investor. Professional investors don't buy negatively geared properties, and if they did, they wouldn't get very far unless they had a huge income. And it's like, if you're trying to be a professional investor if you're trying to be a professional investor and you require a huge income to be a professional investor, are you really a professional investor, or are you just a guy with huge income that isn't spending their money like a dumb cunt? All right. Okay. Anyone that's on $500,000 a year can buy property, and they will, it will be a good investment decision. But are they professional investors? Are they buying with an investment mindset, like a professional investment mindset? No. A professional investor will only buy positively cash flowing properties. If you find a fucking professional investor with a net worth over $100,000 that is investing in negatively cash flowing properties, please let me know. please let me know, because I haven't been able to find one yet. They all say buy positive cash flowing properties, and I fucking know why, because I do the same thing and it makes so much more sense than buying negatively cash flowing properties. When I started investing, I bought negative cash flowing properties, and it was the most painful thing I ever did. I felt like I was tying a rock, no, like a fucking anchor. I was tying an anchor to my leg, and I had a like a 500-meter rope on it, and somebody tossed it out to sea and said, good luck. I had to figure, whatever. You know what I mean? Okay. So these are the type of properties I'm looking at. Went on a bit of a rant. Victoria has strong fundamentals for growth. You could invest in a house, a townhouse, an apartment. It doesn't matter what you invest in Victoria. It's going to see a lot of capital growth, but so there will be a lot of people that will be buying houses that are negative cash flow and all that sort of stuff. That's great. You're going to get a lot of capital growth. Yes, but the thing about being a proper investor is you will be buying positive cash flowing assets, and it's harder to find houses that are positive cash flowing assets, right? So I'm not going there, okay? And a lot of people, it's very funny. It is honestly hilarious, because I invested in Perth in 2021. A lot of people also invested in Perth in 2021. I bought positive cash flow properties when the market was inactive, and other people bought negative cash flow houses in the marketplace, and the difference was, which is ridiculous, their properties didn't even see as much growth as mine. So think about it, right? That's about it. See you guys. Bye.